Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob with RobLive, and I wanted to share something with you guys. I recently became a published author. It is a book with 25 other distinguished contributors. We call this book The 8 Leadership Styles That Empower, a Guide to Transformative Collaboration. It was an amazing thing to do. Our publisher, Adriana Rosales, did an amazing job, and I think there's a lot of value to what's shared in this book on leadership. So if you'd like to check this out, it's not just myself, it's 25 other great leaders from all walks of life. You can get a link to order the book in our description. Thank you. Uh-oh, shoulders moving. What's up, everybody? We are back. Jimbo.
Yep.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's starting to get warm, but I love this weather, man. It's starting to look, it feels good every day.
Feels like a moment of transparency.
It's getting there.
Audience, I'm being real with you guys right now. Sometimes you get a guest on the show and you're like, Jim, how the hell did we pull this one? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. This is one of those days.
Yeah.
We're excited. Hey, no offense to our other guests. We love you all. We appreciate you guys spending your gas money on us. $5 a gallon.
Oh yeah.
Dang,
yeah.
Gina.
Yeah, she's right up my alley in my background. So I have a lot to talk to her about.
Yeah, so we're building her up, right? This is all part of the plan. That's why Jim hasn't put the camera on her yet, because we're gonna build her up first. So there's a podcast called La Mera Mera. She is the host, CBS 47, KSEE 24 reporter, journalist, speaker, and the reason I came across the amazing profile of this individual is there's been a recent award that was given. And anytime awards come up for anyone in the area, for some reason, my algorithm says, you better talk to this person. Thank you, algorithm. Facebook. It is the CCNMA most influential Latina journalist in California, Miss Viviana Yvonne. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah. So just full disclosure, we didn't think we could get you.
Oh
Here
my
you
gosh.
Yes.
No.
Thank you, Michaela, backing us up. I bet you Michaela had something to do with it. She's like, hey, man, they're teachers. Throw them a bone. Come on.
Oh my gosh. No.
Come on the show. Thank you for coming.
Of course. It's an honor. Thank you.
Yes. So let's start from the beginning. You were born in Clovis?
Yes.
Raised in Clovis, Modesto?
Correct.
Where'd you go to high school?
First I went to Enoch's for most of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went to Byar. I actually fell behind in credits, which is an interesting story.
Oh, let's get into it. So now remember, we're both teachers.
Right.
So I always start with school because to me, it's a formative experience, right? We have 3 educators in the room and we see how that develops a person. There's always that teacher or that mentor that came along the way, or there's that experience, positive or negative, that leads us in a certain trajectory. So we always want to hear the school story. So give us the school story.
Yeah. So I liked going to school and I enjoyed learning. But when I was 13, I was a freshman, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Oh, yeah. And I was so distracted after that. I don't really remember much except constantly being pulled out of school. He had to go get his treatments at Stanford. So my mom was taking me out, or I'd be missing a week because he needed surgery, he needed chemo. And I'm an only child. There was no one to watch me. And
wow. Latina
family.
Only child. That's like a unicorn, right? Does that happen still?
my parents both had children from their previous marriages. Yeah. But they call me their late life blessing. And they were older. Yeah. So I was really unplanned. But yeah, so I started to really, I was worried about my dad, and me and him, best friends. He took me to every soccer practice. He picked me up from school, took me to school. So when he got that diagnosis, I was devastated and didn't care, couldn't be in school. And so my grades started to slip. And this was early on in high school. I don't think I ever really caught up, and I was barely making it. And then they told me, you're not going to graduate unless you go make up your credits at Byar, because Byar High School had some sort of, it was you go and you take classes online on the computer all day. You just sit there and finish your courses, and then you could go back to Enoch's, graduate with your school, and walk and everything if you did that. So I did, and that was that. I graduated.
And you walked? You got to walk with your class?
I actually chose to just stay at Byar. I really didn't care. So there was too much life going on for me to be I want to graduate with them, not that. My problems were
real life stuff happening to you.
Yeah.
And as far as your father's health?
So he passed away 5 years ago. He lived a lot longer after that diagnosis, because the doctor had told us then he only had about 6 months. And we went to get a second opinion. That was at Stanford, not in Modesto. And they were told, well, 50-50. And thankfully, even though it was really painful and he had a lot of surgeries and a lot of treatments, he did live for, most of the rest of my life and up until a few years ago.
Wow.
He died right when I was taking my finals for Fresno City College.
Yeah.
He was in hospice in our home in front of me, and I was taking my finals for Fresno City, watching him pass. Wow. And he got to see the online ceremony of my graduation. He knew I was graduating. He was kind of still coherent. So I have a picture of him holding my grad cap, giving me a thumbs up. And then he passed away. And a few months later, I had to start Fresno State. And it was just really rough time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. Something came to mind as you were sharing about your father. And it's this idea that, we want to accomplish things with our parents there along the way.
Exactly.
But I really had an epiphany right now as I was talking to you, because I've been thinking about my mom and dad lately. They're getting older, and Mom, Dad, I'm not saying you're passing yet, okay? But, you start thinking about those things. And I know that with the podcast and different things that I want to do, I kind of want to accomplish those things while they're still here. But as I'm speaking to you and thinking about you and your father, I've come to this piece that says, you know what? They've already seen us for the superstars we will become. Like, they've already seen it. Like, they look at us that way all the time.
Right.
They don't need to see it come to fruition because they're already convinced it's happening.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for bringing that piece to me just now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this today.
Yeah.
Man, Jim.
It's something I struggle with. I recently spoke to someone and I was just sharing, we do a lot of the things we do to make our parents proud.
Yeah.
So when my dad passed at that crucial moment, I wanted to quit because why am I even trying to do this? I know I still have my mom, but half of my life is gone. So there's no point to continue, right? And then you go, and my dad's never got to see me on TV. Never got to see me.
But he knew you were going to be there.
But he truly did. He did.
He knew. I mean, I could imagine, I don't know him, but the relationship you're describing to me, I could imagine you'd be like, hey, Dad. Because my mom does it sometimes. Because I got Man of the Year once, right? Here we go, Jim.
Congratulations.
Self-promoter.
You go.
So we were just talking about this, it was about 10 years ago. But I tell him, I still bring it up. But, when you have these moments, right? And I'll just tell you probably how it would have played out with your dad. You would have told him, Dad, I'm most influential Latina in California. He was like, yeah, I knew that, mija. Because you were always that to me. You know what I mean? That's the way my mom responds when we do these types of things. And I share. And I'm trying to shock her and make her proud. And she's not fazed because you're like, I've been telling you who you were since you were a baby. So, yes, this is just an alignment. So that made me feel like, oh, she don't need to see it. Because they already...
Yeah, but sometimes we like the pat on the back. We went the surprise,
Yeah.
We did. But, Jim's parents have both passed. But, I would assume that, they saw the potential and the light in you just because I look at some of the things that they put on your lap.
One of the most interesting thing was my dad. I'm a junior, so my dad's the same name,
James
Philip Chance Jr. So he would go to work, and back then on Fridays or something, we'd shot working at the time I think it was 47, but we got our names put on the credits. And so they would see their name or my name, and they would go to my dad and be like, "Hey, why was your name on the news the other day?" And he'd be like, "No, that's my son." And then it just kind of put that level of proudness. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And you have your mom.
Yeah.
How's
so
your mom?
She is a character, and I love her. I love you, Mom. She is the reason I am who I am. Like, I'd give her 80% of the credit. Strong, powerful Latina. She got her master's in social work from Fresno State.
Yeah.
Was first gen in her family. One of 12 siblings, and only one to go to college.
Wow.
And she paved that
One
way.
of 12, only one to go to college. Did she grow up here in the Central Valley? Or
she she grew up in a little bit in LA because she went to Garfield High School.
Garfield.
Yeah, she went to Garfield.
Stand by me. Is it not stand by?
No,
Stand and deliver. Yeah.
So she
Garfield
always tells me she was like
Jaime
the class.
Escalante.
Yes, she was the class. I can't remember if it was before or after when that movie was
Did she
filmed.
meet him or?
No, I don't think she did. But yeah, so she was there, and then eventually they moved to Hanford.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that's.
And
she's
from
incredible. Yeah, she stayed in the valley. She met my dad, who was also from Montebello, and so he was like out there too. But then
LA
he also
parents.
came to the valley. They met in the valley.
That's crazy how that all lined up.
Right. And yeah, but she's incredible. When my dad did pass away, she would tell me like, "You still have me. Like, what about me?" And I felt so bad. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. What's her name?
Patricia.
Shout out to Patricia. We do shout outs here.
Yes.
Jim, do we have the DJ horn for Patricia? Yeah. So you get through high school. You're kind of just trying to get through. Then you go to college. How did you decide you were going to major in, was it journalism or mass communication?
So I went to Modesto Junior College.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help people. My mom was a social worker. I knew she had always raised me, you got to do something to help others. And she wanted me to be a social worker too. But I saw her come home every day with the stress and the tears and the heaviness of working for the county. And I just knew like that wasn't going to be for me. And I tried that, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't for me. During this time, I was also in a very abusive relationship. So I wasn't able to really focus on my academic early college years at all. I would drop out. Things would happen. I didn't prioritize education. I was a mess. I was a straight mess. And eventually, a few years later, I got out of that relationship and I started going to church. I got saved. And I was raised Catholic, but for me, I always felt like there should be more to this. And I had told my parents, nothing against being Catholic. I just think I need to explore other ways to worship God. Yeah. And so I went to a Christian church, got saved, got involved in leadership there, and really changed my life. And I thought I would be a pastor, actually. Wow. Yeah. So that was like its own little moment. And from
Which church did you end up connecting with?
What is the name of the church? It's a big church.
Out in Modesto?
Yes.
So
The House.
The House. Mm-hmm. Shout out to The House. Thank you guys for reaching out and blessing Viviana with that journey. We have teaching moments sometimes on the show, and I always try to consider our audience, right? There's an audience member out there right now who's probably thinking about how to get out of an abusive relationship. What sort of insight or advice would you give them?
I just think back to when I was in it and people tried to tell me, you need to leave or get out. They make it sound so easy. Yeah. And I think people really need to understand that it's not easy for us. By the time this has happened, I've already been with him for years, and it didn't start that way. So you're still holding on to like the goodness, the good times, the potential of they might change because they keep saying they will and they'll never do it again. There's a lot of emotional manipulation. There's a lot going on to it that I think, especially if you don't have any background in mental health and you don't practice these things, you don't believe in it. Oh, she should just leave. But that's not
simplified.
The case. That's not what it is. And so I always tell people, just young women that I meet, you deserve the absolute best, and no one should ever hurt you physically, emotionally, and it might be really hard, and it was really hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. I left several times, and several times he came back saying he would change and never do it again, and I believed it. For me, and I'll be fully transparent, what got me to realize it was I got pregnant, and I was terrified that he would hit me through my pregnancy and I wouldn't make it, or that he would hit me in front of my child after, or that he would hit my child. So I chose to have an abortion. And that was a huge, slap in the face, eye-opening experience, because I never wanted to be in that position to have to make that decision again. It was so traumatic, physically, emotionally, in every way. And it was like, if you're not willing to have a child with this person and they're not good enough to, you're worried about all these things. What are you doing? Like, why are you still standing next to them? So that was it for me.
Your transparency is moving. Thank you so much for being, that is hard to, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to move on now to the college years and then you landing into journalism.
Yes. So eventually I figured I need to move from Modesto. I need to, not that you run from your problems, but I just needed a new space, and I wanted to move out from my parents, be on my own. Yeah. I moved back to Clovis, and I rent a room from my childhood home because my brother was renting out the house. So I rented a room from him, and he gave me like 3 weeks. You know, you got to get a job, you got to pay rent. So I started applying, started working at the Cheesecake Factory, was a server, was going to Fresno City, got my degree in communications. Never wrote for the college paper, was terrified of public speaking. It wasn't until Fresno City where I overcame that fear, and still didn't know, like, till maybe the very last second, journalism. That's what's going to be. So some people on TV have this crazy, like, I always wanted to be on TV. Yeah. It wasn't me. That's not my story. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I played from second grade through junior college.
Oh, wow.
So I like Mia Hamm, Ronaldinho, Messi.
Those are your heroes.
Yes. Indoor soccer, played my whole life. So this was a later dream for me. And yeah, so transferred to Fresno State, majored in, I believe they changed the name, but I think it was like mass communications with an emphasis in broadcast journalism. And yeah.
And the light switched on at Fresno State, like, I'm going on.
I knew when I was transferring, that's what I was going to do. And I didn't have any time to waste. I went in with a mindset of go crush this. My dad had just passed. I needed the distraction, and I went full steam. I was involved with so many things. I was president of RTDNA, Radio Television Digital News Association. I did an internship with NPR in Sacramento for a week. I did an internship with ABC 30. I wrote for the New York Times and got published.
Oh, wow.
I had no life, but it paid off. It paid off. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, because we're told you can't start on air in this market out of college because this is like a 54 market, and news markets are 1 through 100 and something. So they want college students to go down in those lower markets, make their mistakes in front of less people, get polished before you get to a mid-sized market like Fresno. So I was told it was impossible, but we don't believe those things.
So you went straight in and you were on air.
I started like 2 weeks after graduating.
Wow. Congratulations,
man. Thank you.
Wow. And so how do you decide, within the Valley, there's multiple channels. How do you decide who you're going to go with?
Well, ABC 30, up until I think maybe recently, they didn't hire their interns who wanted to be on air because they firmly believed this isn't a starting market. Go and then come back to us.
Okay.
So they were they weren't in the running. And then 26, which, I had a professor, Kim, she was on air there. But I didn't even...
Wait, Margot?
No, Kim Stevens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she worked there, but I had never heard anything like about them considering or looking. But KSEE 24 and CBS 47, they had already reached out to me before I graduated.
Wow.
So there were tons of other like smaller market stations who reached out as well. But I mean, comparing the two, like, am I going to move to the middle of nowhere and make almost nothing, or am I going to stay in my hometown and make a decent living?
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember your first night on air?
It was my first morning. So I've been on the
morning.
Yeah, I've been on the morning show for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in June. I do remember exactly. I know what I was wearing. I was wearing a green dress. I was standing in front of City Hall because it was this big story, and I was just standing there. I had 8 hits to do. I was so nervous. I had my hit times, and it was just go time. It was just me. I wasn't interviewing anybody, so I had to remember everything, all the points I needed to hit. And yeah, it went really well, though.
Like,
I was really proud.
So now you're 3 years in now, or?
Almost, yeah,
3 years.
in June.
So then this most influential Latina journalist, when did you find out you were in the running for this?
It was a couple months back. Yeah, it was a couple months back. And
is it an application process, like an interview process, or how does it work?
No, so someone has to like nominate you, and then people have to vote for you. So I started telling everyone like, hey, I know I'm up for this, like vote for me, you know?
Yeah. And, why not?
And people did. I hope, I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like we don't know, you know. And they look at your work in the last year. Mm-hmm. They look at community impact. They look at social media. They look at all kinds of things. And of course, they read whatever people wrote. Because I think in the process, you have to really write, what is Viviana doing that you think she deserves? Yeah. So they'll like, you know, make your case. So they look at all of those things. And I guess, and then they make a decision. Yeah. Now,
to some degree, you get to choose the stories you cover, or are they assigned to you? How does it work?
Most of the time, I get to choose. Unless it's breaking
you know where I'm
news.
going with this?
I feel like I know. I might know. Yeah.
So, Jim, I listened to her speech, her congratulations speech when she went on stage in Los Angeles and presented with this award. Were you there, Michaela? Do you remember when she said, I was told not to cover too much of the Latino stories because it would hurt my career?
Ruin my career.
That stuck with me. Mm-hmm. So that's a real thing. Like, people warn you, hey, don't get too brown with it.
For real. Yeah. I won't say who, but it was someone in management, and they told me it was going to ruin my career. I'll never forget.
Was this after you showing a track record of covering Latino stories?
Yes.
And they were like, hey.
Yes. But what was interesting about it is in the same conversation, they also gave me a lot of credit. Like, we've never had access to farm workers like this. We've never been able to go in the fields and interview farm workers. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't build that relationship and you're not making it clear, I'm here to, you know, support you. You're safe telling your story.
Yeah, the trust.
Right, the trust. It's crucial. And you can't just go out and do that. You know, you have to work on that. So it was a very interesting conversation. But I remember thinking right then and there, I'm going to go even harder. I'm going to do even more Latino stories because it's not new. The language might be different for me today, but there's several journalists. Maria Hinojosa, she's another one who I admire and look up to, and she went and started her own media company. And in an interview on NPR, she actually said, I was accused of having an agenda. It's the same sort of language. You know, when you promote or prioritize and highlight Latino voices, it's almost like, what are you doing? Yeah. I guess a lot of people see that as threatening, or they don't understand why. I'm not sure what goes on in certain people's minds, but I'm not the first to face this. I won't be the last, unfortunately. Yeah. But I hope each one of us continues to pave the way to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, you're definitely paving the way. As far as some of the most compelling stories you've come across, can you recall some that like really touched your heart?
Yeah, I can give you a few. One is from last year when all of the ICE raids were really, really picking up. Yeah. And I remember wanting to find voices that would speak to what they were going through. Not city council members, not mayors, not police officers, the people being impacted. But I knew that would be a lot of work because of the fear. Yeah. I don't want to go on record as an undocumented immigrant and say how I feel.
Hey, I'm right here.
Right, exactly. But I just knew, okay, well, if I had a chance, the people who would be able to connect me to that story would be nonprofits. And I knew a lot. I started calling a lot of them. Hey, do you know anyone who'd be willing to sit down on camera? And I finally, someone said yes. And the family was an amazing, beautiful family. It was a husband and wife. The wife had just got her citizenship. The husband was in the process. And the husband's sister was self-deporting. And
wait, the self-deporting story, that was yours?
One of them.
I saw that.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that one, Jim? Yeah, that one stuck with me because I think you had some footage of her. Was it the airport, and was that you?
I don't know, not at the airport, but there were a couple in that time. There weren't many. Yeah, that was one, and mine was probably another one. But they were vendors. They have a taco truck at the Ramate in, I believe, was it Hanford? I can't remember.
Yeah, we have Monday sale in Hanford.
Okay. So all they asked was that I didn't show the face of the sister who was self-deporting. So we shot her hands only.
I see.
But the husband who was in the process of becoming a citizen, he and his wife, they were on camera. And he cried, and he was so real and just so honest, talking about how much he loved our country, that he had given everything, and they just want a better life. And, you know, it was just, I'll never forget that interview and that story. And that's one of them that my station picked for an Emmy. So we'll find out in a few months if I'm nominated.
Got to come back for the Emmy speech.
Yeah. And then another one are the prison stories. I've gotten to do a few. I love going to the women's prison in Chowchilla. I've gone to the men's in Corcoran. You know, there's nothing that can prepare you for an experience like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree. We did a field trip to the one Pleasant, I think it's called Pleasant Valley out in Kalinga. And I remember when I played soccer as well through college. And we had a scrimmage against a team in the Lompoc prison. And I don't know about you. Have you been to the prison, Jim? Here's the part where it gets like, I don't know if I want to call it scary or nervous, but they got to lock you in, right? You walk in, they check you in. Now you're locked in with everybody.
Yeah.
And when that door, like, oh, okay, this is real. I don't know if you felt that.
I did. I went in nervous.
Yeah.
My first time, I was so nervous, and I had all these ideas of what I thought it was going to be like. I felt so comfortable with
it. Yeah, once you get talking. And
10 minutes. You know
what it is? I think to some degree it's the movies. Right? In every movie there's like a stabbing.
No, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I recently did another story, and it was on the San Quentin Film Festival. It was the first time they took that festival to the women's prison. And one of the things that they said, and they're famous movie filmmakers and everything there, is that you only see what movies tell you about prison.
Yeah.
We never get to see from the people inside their stories, their voice, their, reality.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when stories aren't told from your voice, by your culture, by whatever, it's misrepresented.
And Hollywood does that.
Hollywood does that.
So they'll take some liberties. I got teachers in the room here. You guys have seen some of these classrooms, right, in the movies, and the kids are standing on top of the chair. Here's the one that kills me. This still happens. This is 2026. They still put blackboards on the. When's the last time we saw a blackboard, right? They still put them. Time. And I'm like, who's the advisor on this set?
Right.
Say, oh yeah, no, you got to put a blackboard. That's Get some whiteboards out there. Get some get some technology. This is what it looks like now.
Exactly.
But, yeah, prison, same thing.
Yeah, and they said, it's so the films that were shown were all made by incarcerated men at San Quentin, or formerly incarcerated, and they were great films. I was like, man,
So, oh wow, okay, I got it. I didn't get that part. I thought they were about the prison, but not by the prisoners.
Yes, they got to make movies.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear that?
And there's some you guys need to look it up, because there's some great ones.
Can we find these on YouTube somewhere? Or
I'm not sure. I think you can. If you just go to San Quentin Film Festival,
it'll pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna add a link to this description, because that's I got to see that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and so I don't know if Jim shared with you a little bit that he was a cameraman and photojournalist, and different story, and he's got some crazy stories.
I'm sure.
Give us that story. Like, this feels like a movie type scene where you're there, you're on the scene, and something crazy happened, and you're like, "What? Is this part of the job?"
Yeah, I think I've been very fortunate to not have really crazy, or dangerous situations that I've been in. There have been a couple of big stories, and it seemed like every news outlet was there. And when I have a picture, I think somewhere, of all the cameras and all of us like lined up to get the sound, and it just looks insane. It was, I believe it was like a triple or quadruple homicide. It was
in Fresno.
No, it was in a small town somewhere in the valley. I don't want to say.
Oh, Goshen.
Greeley, or
was it Goshen?
Maybe. One of those. Yeah, it was.
I remember that story.
And it was just like, we were there all morning, all day, went the next day too.
This is the one where they thought it might have been a cartel?
Oh no, that was another one.
That one's in Goshen.
Yes,
you were
that
there
was
for
in
that?
Goshen. I wasn't there for that.
Oh man.
But I'm talking about another one where they ended up finding like 3 bodies in this house, and then in the house next door there was another body, and it turned out it was the son who went to robbed their safe and killed them all, and then there was another body. And anyways, it was just unfortunate, really sad story. A lot of people died, but you know, it's stuff like that. Or sometimes we'll pull up to a scene because there's an armed individual in an apartment that just shot through the floor, and we're there and you hear the cops saying, okay, come out. And then they're like, okay, we're leaving. And then they want me to stay there. And I'm like, I'm not, the cops are leaving. I'm leaving.
Wow.
Because this person's still inside.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy sometimes. The fires are always wild. You can't breathe sometimes. You come home, you're covered in ash and smoke, and you think you're okay until you start coughing up. Your mucus is brown, black.
Oh, man.
After being out there all morning, all day, you know. But
well, one of the things that I loved about it, I did it for 27 years. And the exciting part of it was every day you went to work, Robert, you had no idea what your job was going to be that day. You could be interviewing a little lady who crocheted for Valley Children's Hospital, or go to a massive fire that now turns into the Creek Fire.
Yeah.
You know, or something that's so huge, you're like, this is national. So yeah, you have no idea. So
that's what I love about it. I can't do no offense, I can't do like a desk 9 to 5. I thrive off of like multitasking and on the go.
And you, Michaela, you got to hear all these stories. Huh? You don't believe what happened today, well, right? And then you have your stories from the classroom. Wow, that's crazy. So, to some degree, right, you get to choose some of the stories that you get to cover. What kind of story are you looking for when you're, you know, like, let's say, okay, we don't got anything on, we want you to create your own story. What are you looking for? Inspiration?
Definitely inspiration, uplifting, cultural, minority, voices that often get overlooked, misrepresented. And those are the stories I want to tell. And I work really hard to like find them and to build trust in my community. I just came from a car show. You know, me and my friend shot it. We're not on the clock, but we do it all the time.
Oh, all right.
And go ahead.
Speaking of not on the clock, you have some other projects here that I wanted to share a little bit of time with. You're the host of a podcast.
Yes.
La Mera Mera. Talk about that.
I haven't got to start yet, but it's in the process. It will be launching soon. Really excited about that. I just wanted a place to, you know, I meet so many incredible people.
Yeah.
I only have 1.5 minutes to tell their story. It's not
That would
enough
kill
time.
me.
It's not enough time. And so not just the people I meet from news, but just people throughout my life. And I want to be able to talk more about their experiences, also my own.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to get to know me better.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're on air, right, they get a little hint, but there's a lot of timing, there's a lot of structure to it.
Yeah.
You don't really get to show as much. That's why I get excited about having this time with you here and all our guests, is to really get the personality. And we get sometimes we get feedback about someone's like, oh, you know, I'd seen her on the news and she's totally different. Well, she had 5 seconds, you know.
Right. Well, that's why I try to post a lot on social media. I feel like if you go to my page, you definitely know, oh, she loves food. She loves LA.
Life.
She loves life. She's proud to be Mexican.
Yes.
She's proud of her roots, and she's having a good time.
That was the vibe I got. You guys were in Mexico recently, right? Was that
Hawaii?
Oh, was that Hawaii?
We were in Hawaii.
I saw the tropical.
Yes,
that's right.
it was Hawaii.
I felt like I was in Hawaii with you guys. I was like, what? The sand, the food.
Oh,
so you do
beautiful.
a great job of telling a story through visuals. So I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've kind of been stuck. Okay, we got to get some stuff right. We've been following. You have a lot out there. Anything else that we haven't mentioned that is in the works for you?
No, you guys. Yeah, you covered
We
a
got
lot.
it. Okay, so let's talk about, because I love this, the vlogging, right, where you covered the entire day, and when you accepted this award, I remember there was like makeup at like 4 a.m. and then there was get to the studio. Were you along for the ride for all this? Right? And it was like a whole process. Talk about that day.
Yeah. So I love shout out to my makeup artist. I have a few. They're all incredible. My hairstylist, incredible. I will call them and be like, I have this event. I need you to get me ready at 2 a.m. though. They do it. I love them.
Are they local?
Yes, they're local. And I could have just gone to LA the night before, found someone out there. But you don't just trust anyone with your hair and makeup, especially on such a big day. So I was like, no, I'm just going to stay in town, have them do it. I was super nervous. I knew I had to give a speech. And you guys might think like you shouldn't be nervous doing that. But I'm an interesting extrovert. I don't really like speeches or talking to thousands of people in front of me. I get really nervous. I do it, and people say I didn't look nervous at all.
Yeah.
But I do. I'll start, like, my hand will shake, and it'll go away within, like, 30 seconds. But I do get super nervous, which is what doesn't happen to me when I'm on TV. It's so weird. And so I was nervous, and we were driving. It's super early. My mom's with us, and we get there. And I was so grateful because one of our morning anchors, Luis Cruz, he came. He wanted to support me. So he was there with his husband.
Thank you, Luis.
Yes.
Woke up early.
He did. And, everyone was there, and just being in the room with so many beautiful other Latina journalists who, are either in broadcast in LA or LA Times or Calo News or Delos. Like, there's just so many people there. And I was so inspired to just be in the same room as them.
Yeah. Now, is there a green room where everybody's waiting to get on? Or
No, we had a really nice breakfast. They had food for us, so we got to.
I did see you guys with the food.
yes, we got to eat.
You had like fruit plate.
Mm-hmm. And then they did like a lovely introduction, and they gave out some scholarships to students.
Yeah.
And then they started with the awards, so it was beautiful. And then after, I went and celebrated with my family.
Awesome. They're in LA.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that, like, I feel like there's a contrast, and Jim, you probably experienced this as well. Like, you do something, you're celebrated for it, right? And there's a big pomp and circumstance and makeup, and it's a big deal. And then there's that time right after, right? The downtime when it's just silence and you're just sitting in that accomplishment. And to me, that's my favorite moment. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just hanging back, right? Because when it's happening, right, the focus is, okay, let's get the makeup, let's get the hair, right? She's probably driving you crazy. Go. Let's go. We got to make it. We got to, right? Yeah. The dress. How do I look? How do I look? Hey, Mikhail, how do I look? Right? So it's like you're filled. But then there's that reflection after, like, man, we did that thing. Mm-hmm. To me, that's my favorite moment. Do you remember reflecting afterwards on everything that happened, like that whirlwind of events? Or was it just like, on to the next?
I'm trying to get better at enjoying moments like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to fully be present, and I'm working on it. I think I just accomplish things and I go to bed and like wake up and accomplish something else and go to bed. And I don't sit there and think about it or just give myself a hug.
Yeah.
And remind myself, like, that was a pretty big deal. Like,
exactly.
You deserve to be celebrated, and when you do start to think about it, only you know the hours of work that you've put in on the clock, off the clock, the craziness of saying yes to as many events as you can in the community, to try to not let anybody down, to be available to, I was just speaking to a group of young girls in high school in Madera. They're considered, at risk, which I don't like that term, but
is at promise a better term for you, or what do you like?
I like to say untapped potential.
Oh, I like that.
Because that puts the responsibility on the adults to go and knock.
Oh, that's a bumper sticker. We have these things where people say great things. We turn into a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Say that again about the adults.
So instead of calling the kids at risk, I like to say they're untapped potential.
Untapped potential.
Because that puts the responsibility on the adults to go and knock on their door, get them.
Yeah.
They need extra help. They need resources. That's not supposed to be on them. Like, we are the ones.
It's on us to see.
Yeah. So stop, and that's such a negative term, at risk. Like, you're already negatively putting them in a category now.
Yeah.
That isn't, versus untapped potential. That sounds much better, right? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Those kids, they're all going to grow up to speak to students. I was at risk and had to go make up units, credits.
Look at you now.
Yeah, so.
Look at me now.
Exactly.
Look at me now.
So I was talking to them and sharing my story, everything I've been through, how I fell behind, and a ton of other stuff, which we didn't even touch on. But I would go through it all again, as painful as it was, to be able to speak to them. And so when I win an award like this, it's not just like the bullet points. Life is about everything in the middle of those awards. And only I know how many tears I have cried and how rough it has been for me to get here. So I'm working on being more present and not just tossing it to the side, okay.
All right, next.
And because you never feel at least for me, I don't feel accomplished at all yet. Yeah. I still doubt myself. I still think I'm not good enough in a lot of ways. I still have imposter syndrome. I still struggle with a lot of, just a lot of things.
Wow. Yeah. And I think that's probably blowing some minds out there. They're going to see this episode because they watch you move, right? Mm-hmm. You move with confidence.
Yeah.
And, it's magnetic. It's like, man, what's she doing now?
Yeah.
And the way that you move is inspiring to others. Like, she can do it, I can do it. And to be transparent like you are right now, I mean, it's really going to resonate with some of the viewers because you're now expressing exactly what they're feeling in this moment, and yet you still press forward.
Yep.
You still lean into whatever that is.
Do it scared.
And
do it scared.
Robert,
bumper sticker.
You should give yourself, don't downplay it, because what you said earlier, we're in market 54, 55, right?
Yeah.
You are the Latina version of Stephanie Bergian. You are the person who started a career in the local Central Valley area. Excuse me. And you've succeeded so much that it's almost impossible in this market era, because they got to start off at a lower market and then climb their way to the top. Not to say 55, 54 is the top, but you've succeeded a lot that a lot of young women, whether they're Latino, Filipino, any race, would look at and say, I have a choice. I have a chance to do what she did. And because of the system, I've seen it before where I've worked with interns that literally have been told, yeah, you need to go to Bend, Oregon. You need to go to Alaska. You need to go somewhere in the small markets, then come back in about 3 years when you have experience. And you've overcome that. And you should be really proud on that because that says a lot, because you should be proud of yourself for that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly why I go so hard and I do feel proud, because I've always told myself I'm going to be the reason other stations look at college students, look at college grads. Because not all of us are ready. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But some of us are. We're ready. We can do it. And I want, this win is a win for all of us, for our community.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jessica Harrington,
love her.
30 is just a blessing, and she is a role model to everybody.
I was lucky during my internship to shadow her, so I considered her another mentor for me. Love Jessica. Love you, Jessica. Thank you.
Okay, so I got to ask about this because every industry has this, right? This either meeting, gathering, or hangout spot after the work is done, or where they go to exchange ideas. Is there this random little dive bar in Clovis that we can find all these reporters after work with their microphones on the bar? It's like, yeah, girl, today was, does that happen? Is there some camaraderie happening, some collaboration?
No.
It should, because when I was in Sacramento with Univision, there was a place in Sacramento that politicians, the media, the fire, the police, everyone who was somebody went to that pub and they exchanged numbers, story ideas, and everything.
Yeah,
and it was media night, and it was hosted by different businesses every month. And so purposely, it was like, where's it at now? Oh, it's at this place with
media night.
Yeah, and it was media night, and everyone that was somebody would go and be a part of it. And you realize how many people were in cliques who were not, who needed help. hey, we want to get this story out, and working for Univision, there was a lot of help that needed to be helped. And so we were always, networking and trying to get people to speak for us. Us, I'm saying when I was with Univision. But yeah.
Do you think you would appreciate a space like that?
There are a couple of mixers popping up for us, for journalists.
Yeah.
It's always like at 6 or 7 p.m. though. And I go to bed at like 4 or 5. Because of my schedule.
That's right. Yeah.
So I can't even go to the bar. I work from 4 a.m. to noon. And then
what time do you go to sleep?
I try to go to bed between 5 and 6 p.m.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So if there's a hangout, I would need it to be on the weekend, which...
Give it time. You'll get, are you anchoring in the morning when you're having to fill in?
Yeah. I have to anchor, or I also do forecasting. I do the weather too.
So see, even that right there, Robert, is huge, because being an anchor usually has to, you have to climb up the ropes. And so that's huge. Yeah.
So here's something I learned that I didn't know, because, I come from education as a background. And about 10, 11 years ago, I had this library project in my hometown. And sometimes, the media will really fall in love with the project. And at this time, I was doing the circuit of the different channels and the radio stations. And I don't remember how I witnessed this or where I was, but the person who was interviewing was also like capturing footage and told me that she had to run back and edit the whole thing before 6 p.m. And I'm like, wait, isn't there a team for this? So can you tell the audience that it's not like that?
News is just changing. And I'm like, who am I to speak on the changes, right? I'm barely 3 years in. But from what I've heard and my mentorships and guidance, there used to be a fuller, complete team where you weren't doing everything alone. When MMJ, which is multimedia journalism, was introduced, a lot of my mentors who had been in the industry for like already 30 plus years said it was a really bad change. It was horrible for journalists, reporters. Why? Because now we have to go out and shoot, edit, and write our stories. And they did that because, the people making millions of dollars wanted to stay making millions of dollars and cut certain positions. And we don't get paid to be all those three things either. It's still the same. No one in news makes enough money, especially photojournalists.
And the hard thing on top of that, is that if you make a mistake on any of those jobs that you're having to do, you're just as in trouble as if you were doing your own job.
Right.
And we call them one-man bands, right? You're a one-man band, MMJ, but yeah.
Yeah, so you have to do everything. Now we're shooting on our cell phones. Our cell phones, at least at my station, are better qualities than our cameras because they don't have any money to like upgrade our cameras.
Oh, man.
So it's just complicated. But I'm very blessed. We can't do live shots on our own in this market. We have a union, so a photographer has to be with me to shoot my live shot.
Yeah.
Which is great, especially at 4 a.m. in the dark. So I always have a photographer, and then after, usually they're available to go and shoot my story if it's something different than what I did for the live shot. And so they'll shoot it, I'll get back, I always write it, and then I have someone edit it because it's so early in the day, right? So, and it's just, I have a great team at my station that supports me, like editors, people in digital, photographers.
So you're good at building those relationships.
Yes, and they mean the world to me. So shout out to Phoenix, shout out to Marco, shout out to Iris, shout out to every single person that helps me.
I heard Phoenix, Marco, Iris.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you for supporting.
And who's your assignment editor?
Our assignment, on the desk, he's Brian Matthews.
B-Love. You know Brian.
Brian Matthews.
Yes, I was just waiting to see if she was going to say that. Yep, B-Love.
Yeah, that's his friend. They hang out.
That's my boy.
Go way back.
Way back.
So we were in college. I would come home and go to parties and stuff. He'd be there with B-Love hanging out.
Goodness.
You should bring that up, Jim.
Yeah, Brian Matthews is my boy.
Man.
Yep.
So where do you see your career going next?
Great question. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm very flexible. Changes don't scare me. I'm very much spontaneous. That Hawaii trip was last minute.
Let's go.
I live that way. I don't think everything in life needs to be planned or calculated. I think the more open you are to possibilities, the better it is for you. And I know I want to do a bunch of things. I got to get my podcast going. I want to write a book. I would love to just for sure keep telling stories. That's something that no matter what, if I'm in news, if I'm not, it will never stop because I am a storyteller.
Yeah.
Where I do that at and how I do that at will change, but that will never change like from who I am. So that will always be there.
Wow. Now, given everything that you've gone through to get to the point you're at, for someone out there maybe watching this episode, what type of advice would you give them if they wanted to get into a similar career?
If you're in college, I would say take advantage of every internship, every club, every opportunity that you have. Build that relationship with your professors because they're going to be able to, give you present opportunities that you can take advantage of. It's up to you to grab them. But, Faith Sidlow, she was a huge mentor to me in college. And I always tell her I owe her everything because when the New York Times called and needed somebody to go report on the flooding in Planada, she said me. And I did. And that's how I got published, And so stay close to mentors, professors, do everything that you can and sacrifice. You're not going to have free time. You're not going to be able to go and do all the things. Don't waste time. I was fortunate that I had been through so much in life and I was already older that by the time I was at Fresno State, I didn't want to party. I didn't want to hang out with nobody. I knew I was zoned in, So the faster you can do that, it's going to help you. Start acting like whatever role you want to be. If you want to be a reporter, you should be acting like a reporter in college. You should be, on social media, already doing things, stand-ups, interviews, present yourself that way. And people who still use X, I was already tweeting like a reporter. Today I'm live at, happening now, breaking now. I was still a student. And that's how, Brian first messaged me, are you still in college? I was already doing that. And that can apply for anything. Don't wait for the title. The title will come, but you can already be fulfilling that role. So don't wait and don't let anybody tell you something's not possible.
Man, she's motivating me to go back. Jeez.
Wow. No, that's we can't wait to see what's next for you. You said there's a book coming at some point?
I hope so.
What would you like to share if you were to put a book out? I recently was published, and I'm going to share that with you guys a little bit later. But, when something like this happens, right, you start to go, hey, what kind of story what do I want to share? Mm-hmm. If you were to write a story today, is there any topic that just sits on your heart that you would like to share about?
I think it would just be about my life in general and the hardships and things I've had to overcome. And hopefully that would help somebody else with, their struggles because I always think no one cares or no one wants to read your story. There's, what's different or why would it matter? But someone recently told me your story is so unique and so many people are waiting for it. And that's going to open their eyes and see what's, possible. So I don't ever want people to look at me and think, oh, she's had it all together. She's beautiful and inside and out and her life just must be perfect. That is my worst fear. So I never want to lose touch with what I've gone through. And it's just why I'm so honest and open all the time. Yeah. Because no, I'm not just this pretty face on TV. I've been through a lot. We didn't cover a lot. I've had cancer.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things. And I want people to continue to know this about me. So that way they too can have some sort of oh, she's human and she's gone through it and I'm going through this. So look at it. She made it.
And you said you're a speaker as well, right?
Yeah,
you
I get
share
invited.
Your story.
Yeah, I get invited to speak to a lot of different events, high school students, junior high, career days, emceeing, guest speaking. Yeah. And
I feel like depending on where you're at,
I adjust
the story.
The message.
There's so many messages within your life.
Right. That group of young girls in Madera, they've already had a troubled life, just like I, at their age, was already going through it. So they didn't get the career day presentation. They got the messiness of my journey presentation.
Wow.
You know.
So one thing I'd like to just recognize for you is just this transparency. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being transparent, because, it takes a level of humility to say, hey, things didn't work out perfectly and there were some choices along the way. And sometimes people will kind of hold back from that in a filtered world, right? Mm-hmm. So I thank you so much for that.
Of course.
All right. So sounds like, Jim, there might be an episode 2 to this, right?
No, and I want to give, there's a hidden message in here. I want to give a shout out because you said Faith Sidlow. Faith Sidlow is a very good friend of mine. I worked with her at 24 in the Morning Show years and years ago. And Robert, you're sitting at a desk that was at Fresno State, and she donated to our set, to
no
my
way.
school. That podium right there was for the weather.
What's her name?
Faith Sidlow. Yeah, she's at Fresno State. She's the journalism, what's her title?
She's retiring.
Oh my gosh!
If you guys didn't know,
Faith
yes,
or
but
Faith?
she's been the
Faith.
chair.
Yeah.
She was the department chair.
Yeah, forever.
Wow.
And Natalie, is that her? She had a girl that was there. So you went through the whole program with her. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yep.
That says a lot. She has a huge, support and everything that goes through there.
Wow.
Program at Fresno State.
Faith, thank you for the test.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you. Hey, guys, we're just going to line it up one more time. Viviana Yvonne, host of La Mera Mera, CBS 47, KSEE 24, journalist, reporter, speaker, right here from the Central Valley, and this year's 2026 CCNMA Latina Journalist of the Year, most influential Latina in California.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to close this out right now from Viviana Yvonne and James Philip Chance. I'm Rob Izquierdo Jr. saying love, peace, and chicken grease. We out.